The drugs, the anger.
Nobody's questioning your athletic ability.
You're 23 years old, playing in the Super Bowl for the New England Patriots, catching passes from Tom Brady himself. You've got a $40 million contract, a beautiful family, and the world at your feet. Fast forward just 3 years, and you're hanging lifeless in a prison cell, convicted of murder. This is the story of Aaron Hernandez, the NFL superstar who threw it all away to become one of the most notorious killers in sports history. Aaron Hernandez wasn't born a monster. He was made into one. Born in Bristol, Connecticut in 1989, Aaron's childhood was a nightmare. His father, Dennis, was brutally abusive, beating Aaron senseless for the smallest mistakes. At 16, his father died suddenly, devastating Aaron completely. But instead of getting help, Aaron channeled all that pain into rage and rebellion. Here's what made Aaron different though. The kid could play football like nobody's business. By high school, he was setting state records and catching the attention of college scouts nationwide. But even as Aaron dominated on the field, the darkness was growing inside him. He was smoking massive amounts of marijuana and hanging out with kids already deep into criminal activity. The warning signs were flashing like neon lights. But when you're that talented, people look the other way. And that's exactly what happened when he got to college. At the University of Florida, Aaron became one of the most dominant tight ends in college football history. He helped Florida win a national championship and looked destined for NFL stardom. But behind the scenes, Aaron was spiraling out of control. In 2007, during his freshman year, Aaron got into a fight at a bar and sucker punched the manager so hard he ruptured the man's eardrum. Police wanted to charge him with felony battery, but somehow the whole thing got swept under the rug. Then came the really scary stuff. Just months later, someone opened fire on a car full of people at a Gainesville traffic light. Two men were shot, one in the head, one in the arm. Both survived, but barely. When police investigated, one of the victims picked Aaron Hernandez out of a photo lineup as the shooter. Let that sink in. We're talking about attempted murder, and Aaron was the prime suspect. But guess what happened? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. When detectives tried to question Aaron, he lawyered up and refused to talk. They found him in the interrogation room with his head down, apparently sleeping, behavior so bizarre that even seasoned cops were shocked. The case went nowhere, and Aaron kept playing football like nothing had happened. By his junior year, he was a first-team All-American, but his coach Urban Meyer had finally had enough. He told Aaron he wasn't welcome back, that he needed to declare for the NFL draft. Even Meyer could see this kid was trouble with a capital T. And that's how Aaron found himself entering the 2010 NFL draft, carrying deadly secrets that no one in the league knew about. Draft Day 2010 should have been Aaron's coronation, but something strange happened. This elite talent fell all the way to the 4th round because multiple teams had removed him from their draft boards due to character concerns. The New England Patriots thought they could fix him. They paired him with Rob Gronkowski, and together they became one of the most dominant tight end duos in NFL history. Aaron signed a $40 million contract extension and played in the Super Bowl. From the outside, everything looked perfect, but Aaron was living a terrifying double life. He kept a secret apartment his fiancée didn't know about, where he stored drugs and weapons. He hired 2 criminal friends from Bristol as his assistants. One was literally his drug dealer. Aaron was paranoid, convinced people were out to get him. He slept with a knife by his bed, installed surveillance systems, and collected weapons like other people collect baseball cards. His teammates didn't like him. Tom Brady called him a lot to handle, and was desperately trying to steer him in the right direction. By 2013, Coach Belichick was actually planning to cut Aaron from the team. But those teammates and coaches had no idea what Aaron was really capable of. Because while he was catching touchdown passes on Sundays, Aaron Hernandez was also planning murders. July 16, 2012. Aaron walked into a Boston nightclub called Cure, and within hours, 2 innocent people would be dead. Daniel Diabru and Safiro Furtado were just 2 guys from Cape Verde trying to enjoy a night out. They had no idea they were about to cross paths with an NFL player who was completely out of control. Someone in the club accidentally bumped into Aaron and spilled a drink on him. That's it, a spilled drink. For most people, that's an "excuse me" and maybe a napkin. For Aaron Hernandez, it was apparently a death sentence. Security footage shows Aaron was in the club for less than 10 minutes. He posed for a photo with a fan, then left by himself. But he didn't go home. Aaron got into his silver SUV and waited. When Daniel and Safiro left the club and got into their car, Aaron followed them to a red light. Then he pulled up next to them, rolled down his window, and opened fire.
Roll it down.
5 shots.
What the fuck, man?
Both men dead. Over a spilled drink. Aaron drove home that night, climbed into bed next to his fiancée, and woke up the next morning like nothing had happened. But Aaron had brought a witness that night, his friend, Alexander Bradley. And Bradley knew he was sitting next to a killer. For months, this secret ate away at their relationship. Aaron became convinced that Bradley was going to rat him out to police. So in February 2013, Aaron decided to eliminate the problem. Aaron lured Bradley to a Florida strip club, got him drunk, then drove him to an industrial parking lot and shot him in the face. He left Bradley for dead and drove away. But Bradley survived. He lost his right eye, but he lived to tell the tale. Bradley wanted $5 million to stay silent about the double murder. Aaron countered with $1.5 million. The two exchanged over 500 text messages, death threats, extortion attempts, and increasingly desperate pleas. By this point, Aaron was completely unraveling. He bought cars with guns hidden inside. He purchased an armored Suburban. He hired a 24-hour bodyguard. The paranoia was consuming him, and everyone could see it. And then, on June 14, 2013, Aaron made the biggest mistake of his life. He brought a friend named Odin Lloyd to another nightclub. Odin Lloyd was a good kid who stayed out of trouble and had dreams of making something of himself through football. Unfortunately, he was dating the sister of Aaron's fiancée. That family connection would cost him his life. At the nightclub, witnesses said Aaron appeared upset with Odin and stormed out early. Prosecutors believe Odin may have learned something about Aaron's involvement in the double murders. 2 days later, on June 16th, Aaron texted his criminal buddies, "Can't trust anyone anymore." That night, they drove up from Connecticut. At 2:33 a.m., the 3 men picked up Odin at his apartment. Odin had no idea he was getting into a car with his executioner. As they drove toward an industrial park, Odin sent his final text messages to his sister. "You saw who I'm with. NFL. Just so you know." At 3:25 a.m., surveillance cameras captured their car driving toward a secluded gravel pit. 4 minutes later, the same car drove away. In those 4 minutes, they dragged Odin Lloyd out and shot him to death. Multiple times in the back, in the chest. They left his body like trash. But Aaron thought he was smarter than the cops. He hired cleaners, destroyed his security system, and smashed his phone. Too bad. Police were already watching him. On June 26, 2013, they showed up with an arrest warrant. 90 minutes later, the Patriots released him. Aaron Hernandez went from NFL superstar to suspected killer. The evidence against Aaron was overwhelming. Surveillance footage of him picking up Odin, his DNA on gum at the crime scene, shell casings matching the murder weapon, footprints matching his shoes. On April 15, 2015, the jury delivered their verdict: guilty of first-degree murder, life in prison without parole. But Aaron still faced trial for the 2012 double murders. On April 14, 2017, lightning struck. The jury found him not guilty. For the first time in years, Aaron had hope. But the hope lasted exactly 5 days. April 19, 2017, 3:05 a.m. Guards found Aaron hanging in his cell, dead at 27. He'd left 3 notes. One told his fiancée, "You're rich." Aaron knew that by killing himself during his appeal, his conviction would be erased. His family could potentially collect millions. Even in death, he was gaming the system. But here's the final twist. After his death, researchers studied Aaron's brain and found severe chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, the worst case they'd ever seen in someone so young. Years of football hits had destroyed his brain, affecting his judgment and impulse control. So was Aaron a cold-blooded killer who happened to play football? Or was he a victim of a sport that turned him into a monster? Maybe it was both. 3 people are dead, families are destroyed, and a young man who had everything threw it all away. The NFL wants you to see heroes, but sometimes you're watching killers. What shocked you most about Aaron's story? Drop a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to Pros to Foes, where we tell the stories of athletes who went from inspiring millions to shocking the world. Because sometimes the biggest falls come from the greatest heights.